You're like the Joe Rogan of subleasing in Dubai.
So when you're subleasing villas in Bali, can you easily make $2,000 a month profit?
You can estimate anywhere between 25% to 35%.
That's not a lot. How much would I expect to have to pay a villa manager?
Under $500 a month.
Under $500 a month. Oh, it's so cheap.
The owners are the best free marketing you'll ever get in your entire life.
Especially in Dubai, because it's so hard to do marketing in Dubai. Tell me the biggest difficulty having an Airbnb business in Bali.
The turnaround time from signing your property management contract with the owner to actually listing.
What was the bad thing about Dubai?
Dubai, I think that's the only thing you can say.
So you're a Bali operator. You got some massive villas in Bali. I was looking at your profile. You got like 50 of them or something.
Yeah, 55 to be exact.
55 villas in Bali. Where did you get those villas?
I'd probably have to tell you the story of how it all started.
Go for it.
That's the best way I can give you a good introduction. So I was born and raised in Dubai. My whole background is here. So at some point I decided to go for a vacation in Bali. And when I was there, you do the typical posts on social media. And I connected with an old university friend. He moved there permanently. He was in a long-term relationship with a Balinese girl, so he was just fully situated there. We caught up and he pitched the whole short-term rental concept to me. And at that point, this is in 2019. Or yeah, like early 2019, April 2019. At that point, it wasn't as popular as it is now.
In Bali or Airbnb?
Generally, in Bali, and I'd probably say generally it's not as widespread as it is now.
Yeah, now it's crazy.
Now everyone knows about it.
Even
everyone
in
has
Iceland, everybody loves Bali.
Yeah, no, Bali is amazing. So at that point, because you have to keep in mind, people that go to Bali want to go for a longer vacation. Sometimes it's a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because it's a bit far. It's like a 9-hour flight from Dubai, something along those lines. So he pitched the idea to me. I sat on it, thought about it, came back to Dubai, and I was working at a Big Four consulting company at the time. So
here in Dubai?
Yeah, here in Dubai, yeah. Super commercial, super corporate. At some point, I was just like, okay, let's actually study the market there. Let's study the business model. I didn't know much about it, if I'm being honest. So at that point, we started looking into it.
You had no Airbnb experience at this point?
Zero.
Okay.
Nothing. So my friend David, he's my partner in Bali. He suggested it to me, and he took on a lease, a 3-year lease on a 2-bedroom villa.
So same like I'm doing. He just rented.
Subleasing. At the time, we were subleasing.
Okay.
Yeah, at the time we were subleasing, and he suggested I take on another lease, a 2-year lease on a villa called Villa Sunset, which we still have till today. So we took on those leases, and we started like learning the ropes as we went. It's not like we knew exactly what we were doing, but we were trying to figure it out. Yeah, 2 friends, it wasn't a company at the time either. You know what I mean? Yeah. So just figuring it out, getting the amenities right, the pool cleaners, the gardeners, because you have to keep in mind, in Bali, it's not just a apartment that you have to worry about and maintenance for air conditioning and
the pools make it difficult.
Dude, the pools, the gardening.
The gardening too.
Gardening's a thing. You have to also keep in mind the weather there is pretty rough. It's like monsoon season, humid, rainy, windy. So
you have to make sure the villas are waterproofed. You don't have to worry about that much in Dubai.
And I don't know if I'm sure you went through the Airbnb profile I sent you. Yeah, a bit. So the Bali style villas are kind of like open-ended. There's a big part of the villa that's not actually closed off and like, sealed glass.
These villas are crazy. I'll try to put some photos on the screen.
Yeah.
But these villas are insane, some of them.
Man, some of them are great. We also have like a couple of penthouses. We prefer villas because they're just way more popular. Guests prefer like a whole space with a villa.
Yeah.
And a beautiful pool. Like you literally have your own sanctuary in a villa.
Are there a lot of apartments in Bali as well?
Yeah, there are, but I don't think they're as popular. Mm-hmm. If you have an apartment, you want to have like a nice balcony or a terrace with like a hot tub or something like that. People want to dip their feet.
So in Dubai, it's like overwhelming amount are apartments.
Yeah.
Is it the other way around in Bali?
Yeah, definitely.
Overwhelming amount is villas.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to find an operator that was successful just on apartments. Because a lot of the times you have to keep in mind, so most of the visitors that come to Bali are from Australia, that side of the world, Australia and New Zealand, because it's literally right across, like an hour or 2 hours flight from some parts of Australia. And then you also have a lot of the Indian population that like to visit Bali. So especially from Australia, you see a lot of people that come in groups. It's like a whole group that wants an entire villa with like 2, 3, 4, 5 bedrooms.
Yeah.
So it's very different to the market in Dubai. That I can definitely tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you started Subleasing. Now you do management. Now
Yeah.
you manage apartments for other people.
Yeah. So going back to the
villas?
story, 2019 we started with subleasing 2 properties, and I had a couple of friends that were interested in the venture, and then they took on leases, and we managed their properties. And then COVID hit. 2020 came right around the corner, right?
So how many apartments did you have when it hit?
At that point, we didn't have that much. We had like six villas.
And what did you manage to survive, or?
So we did. So while COVID happened, that happened in March 2020, right? We had a difficult time in the beginning because Bali was shut down for like since March 2020 and opened up in January 2022.
Wow.
Exactly.
It was completely shut the whole time.
Completely shut down. So the first half of the lockdown, there was absolutely no local or international tourists allowed. So foreigners and locals, because you have to keep in mind, Bali's an island in Indonesia. Indonesia has like the 4th most populated country in the world.
Really?
It's right under the United States. It's huge. So there was a lot of tourists coming in from Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia.
Okay.
So you have to keep in mind, it's a huge volume. I think in 2024, Bali received around 1,600,000 foreign visitors. That's excluding the Javas, the people from Jakarta. So at that time, we started finding it pretty difficult because the people that were stuck in Bali were the only people that could lease and sublease or just stay in your villas.
Okay. So did you manage to get enough revenue to cover the rents?
Keep in mind, at that time we weren't subleasing, so we shifted. So we took on two contracts, sublease, my villa and David's villa, and then we started taking on other people's properties on a co-host basis, or like we're managing them.
Yeah.
We were operators, and David found 2 guys in Bali that were doing the same business as we were doing. They were focused more on the management aspect of things, and then we kind of merged with 2 partners called David and Benz, Odon and Benz. They were in the business. We were around the same size company, so we just merged, consolidated everything under our company, Paradise Villas Group, at the time. And then we went from around like 12 till 18, around 18, 20 villas. And then that's when we started finding some synergies, because we started leveraging our contacts, leveraging our networks, and the 2 partners that joined us had a good amount of connections in Bali, so they had a good base in Bali.
Why partner with somebody? If somebody wanted to partner with me here in Dubai and merge their companies, for me it would be like super hard to make sense of that, because like I work so hard on my business, and to partner with somebody else, I would have to trust that he would put an equal amount of work. And like how did you come to that decision?
So, like I mentioned, the partner that was in Bali, David, he was the one managing the operations in Bali. Obviously, all of us chimed in one way or another, but he was the boots on the ground. So he was the one that was dealing with all the personnel that we had, dealing with all the people, the manager, the owners, the gardeners, everything from A to Z. So the 2 partners needed David. And it was just way easier for all of us just to consolidate everything and just increase the cash flow coming into the business, so the revenues we were generating. So we did that decision. It took us some time. There was a transitional period so we can like kind of merge everything and move forward with it. And then we landed one contract for a villa called Villa Kirana, and that was kind of the turning point of the company. It's a beautiful villa. I'll send you a few pictures. You can have a look at it. And once we took on that villa, it's beautiful. It's like, I think 4 bedrooms or 5 bedrooms. And then the owner was really happy with our services. We had a great relationship, and he's just word of mouth started going out.
Yeah.
And then people started reaching out. They wanted us to manage their villas, and we started managing single villas, villa complexes with like 4 or 5 villas surrounding each other. And that's where we really started seeing the company grow.
Okay. So that one villa was the turning point, just because it was so much attention around, or what was the turning point?
Look, it was a beautiful villa. That's one. And 2 is we really took care of the owner. We had a great relationship with the owner. We maintained that, and our service was top notch. It's like rated 5 stars on Airbnb, and that's pretty difficult to do in Bali. Like
I
maintain
bet.
5
yeah,
stars.
I saw your reviews are good.
Yeah.
I bet it's hard because there's so many moving parts, with the weather and the gardening and pool
Yeah.
and everything.
Everything.
Why did you end up switching to co-hosting versus subleasing?
Subleasing, as I'm sure you know, there's a risk to subleasing. You're fronting capital. We didn't want to take on that risk too far. And we just found that you could scale somewhat quicker with managing other people's properties. People can argue this, right? Like depending on your expertise and what you prefer doing. For us personally, we didn't want to take on too much liabilities by fronting leases. And we decided to just build that network and build that rapport in Bali, where there was a lot of owners that don't stay in Bali. People from Jakarta or different parts of Indonesia that don't stay in Bali, and it's very seasonal for them. So we started seeing a lot of those owners and a lot of those complex managers handing it over to us. When we first started, we were charging 15% on management fees, and then once we started picking up, we brought it up to 20%, and then that's where we found the sweet spot.
So you're at 20% now?
Yeah, 20% now.
So you take 20%, the owner gets 80%?
Yeah.
Nice. So when you're subleasing villas in Bali, can you easily make $2,000 a month profit doing that?
Yeah.
Per villa?
Definitely. So it's not as seasonal as Dubai. You know how Dubai you have the winter period, you start from let's say October till April. I'm pushing it a bit, but October till April, that's really your best season.
That's the good point.
Yeah, that's the good time. And then the summer is really boring, know. Bali's a bit more spread out. You get visitors from all over the world because if you you have to keep in mind that you have Australia and then you have the Middle East, you have the US, you have all the other foreigners coming into Bali. So Australia's winter is everyone else's summer, and everyone else's summer is Australia's winter. So even when we have downtime on Australia's summer, we get them over winter, and the other foreigners come through different
so there's not really any low season in Bali.
Not really, but obviously you can say the December period, December, January, February, March is the best season.
Okay.
So that was the Bali aspect, and when we reached 2024, we started pushing at the fact that we really wanted to expand. We had a great operation in Bali, and we felt like we can replicate that across different jurisdictions. And the two partners that joined us, the ones where we merged, had an ongoing operation in Budapest, Hungary. They had it for around 2 years, and we decided to buy that company. Obviously, because they were our partners, there were, the terms were favorable. We bought that company. That company manages 33 properties, 33 properties. And now we're setting up in Dubai. And we've rebranded the entire company. So it used to be called Paradise Villas Group, and we rebranded to B&B Mates. So we're still in the process of finalizing our rebrand. Our website's coming up, or consolidating everything under one holding company, let's say, so it can make sense.
So you're going to be running in Bali, Budapest, and Dubai.
Absolutely, yeah, that's the plan.
So if we go back to Bali a little bit,
yeah,
I'm super interested in subleasing in Bali, if that makes sense. So what are if we start with the regulations, are there any regulations, Airbnb regulations? Can you just put whatever on Airbnb and you don't have to register anything, or what's that like?
No, so you obviously have to set up a LLC. The equivalent of that in Bali is called a PT.
So a company.
Yeah, you have to set up a company. You have to set up a company, and you have to make sure that the properties you're taking on are in the right zones. So there's zoning permits or zoning units in Bali, which you have to make sure you have to be you can't be in a green zone, you have to be in a tourist zone.
But there's a lot of available, there's a lot of villas in those zones that are permitted.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
But the thing is about subleasing, well, you're leasing, right? You're not looking at owning or anything. There's certain restrictions in Bali with regards to buying property. So you can take on a leasehold for 75 years. They call it a right to use. But you can't buy outright.
You can't buy villas in Bali?
As a foreigner, you can't.
You're only buying the rights to it for 7 years?
Yeah, you buy it it's a first thing, you do a lease for 30 years, and then you can extend it for 20 years, and then a total of 75 years. It's a option to extend.
Really?
Yeah. It's similar to what Dubai was a while back,
okay,
where there was restrictions on foreign direct investment.
If you own an apartment in Dubai and you want to maximize the revenue, you want to be running that apartment on Airbnb and Booking.com. But if you don't want to do that yourself, you have to make sure to pick a good operator. And now I'm finally offering that service with my 2 partners, and that we're managing apartments for other people for 20% of the revenue. So you take 80%, we take 20%, and we really maximize your revenue. We got 17 apartments already, and all the owners are so happy, and we're going into the high season. So if you want us to manage your apartment, book a call with us in the description below. But what about like if you're building the villa? I hear a lot of people build villas in Bali.
Yeah.
So you build the villa, you don't own it. Is it just the land that you're leasing, or is it?
I don't know. So those are the off-plan villas that are being built. I think I'm not sure. I'm not gonna, talk about something I'm not sure of, because that's not what the business we're in. But I know that like if you're a foreigner and you have a right to use over land, that land needs to be built up on already. So you can't buy a bare land and have a right to use it, because you can't build on it. So what I think might be the case is that you have a lot of, let's say, Indonesians that take on or buy those properties and partner or enter into a joint venture with whoever it is to build over it.
I got you.
Yeah.
So let's say I rent a villa in Bali. It rents maybe what, $5,000 a month, something like that.
5,000, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how much do I pay monthly?
No, you're gonna have to pay upfront. So a lot of the times you pay majority upfront. I'd probably say between 60 and 70% upfront.
Okay.
So
that's very capital intensive.
Yeah, but obviously you can negotiate the length of your lease. The longer your lease, obviously the better the terms that you get. Your prices aren't going to be through the roof, and you can obviously look at an installment basis that makes a bit more sense.
So that's like third party that makes it puts it into installments.
No, so it's like, for example, you pay upfront, let's say 40% of the lease, the entire lease. If you take on a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year lease, you pay upfront, and then you can probably negotiate depending on your reputation in Bali. If you've set up a company, how many properties you have under management, or how many properties you sublease. That makes a huge difference.
I see.
Yeah.
And the furniture, do they come furnished usually, or?
Most of the times you get them furnished, yeah. But there's a lot of the times you're going to look at the furniture and you're going to be like, okay, that needs to be changed.
Yeah, that needs to be changed.
Furniture isn't too expensive in Bali.
Okay, so it's cheap.
Yeah, it's not. Okay. It's nothing compared to what you're paying in Dubai. Absolutely.
Wow.
Everything is cheaper in Bali, I'd say.
It sounds like a decent place to have a subleasing business.
Yeah,
it sounds.
I think it's so. If you look at it, the returns, you can estimate anywhere between 25% to 35% over your long-term lease. Hopefully, that's what you should be aiming for in ROI.
What do you mean over the long term lease? So if your rent is $5,000 a month, you're saying I should expect 25%. So I'm making like 6,000.
Yeah,
and that's not a lot. That's not
20. Look, in comparison to that region, I think that's good. If you look at the rest of the countries surrounding Bali, you look at like Hong Kong, for example, you're getting not much on your return. And that's why you have a lot of these Indo-Chinese investors coming straight into Bali and Indonesia. It's pretty aggressive, like especially now after the doors opened after COVID. You started seeing that the property prices started going up. You have a lot of foreigners getting rights to use over land.
So when you're saying 20%, are you talking if you buy the apartment, you get 25% return?
No, I'm talking about your lease. Yeah.
Because in general, people usually want to double their rents.
Yeah.
Not just get like 1.25. So now it sounds like it's not such a great place.
So no, I wouldn't say that, because you have to keep in mind you have a good amount of overheads. You're gonna have to hire people to maintain that property well.
I got you.
That's like I'm telling you that's the bare minimum you should be aiming for, depending on the property that you get.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're good at it and you know what you're doing, you can optimize that as much as possible, and you have a lot of additional services that you can also give. So you have the pickup and drop-offs, you have the leisure, entertainment and tourism. So you have all that.
I saw you renting scooters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You make a lot of money off of that.
It's good. It's good. Yeah, it's like an additional income or revenue that you generate from a very little initial investment that you do.
Yeah, but it makes sense that you shifted to revenue share.
Yeah,
makes sense. So you're managing 54 apartments. how many of owners? Is it like 54 owners? Or
No,
is it,
I think it's like 36 owners.
Yeah.
36 owners.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have, because some, like I said, some of them are villa complexes. So we have 4 or 5 villas right next to each other, which makes it beautiful for us from a logistic perspective. So you can manage them easily, and you can have people there dedicated for that area. Because I'm guessing you've never visited Bali, have you?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. So Bali's a big island, a really busy, traffic-heavy island too, especially now because it's kind of becoming commercialized and it's in the mainstream. It's always been, but now you have a lot of visitors coming in. There's traffic everywhere. So you have your main hotspots would probably be Ubud. It's in the center of the island. Then you have Seminyak, which is by the beach. So Seminyak, Kuta, Canggu, and then you have Uluwatu. So that's all by the beach, all by the ocean. And that's where most of the tourists prefer going. So you have Canggu, you have Seminyak, and Uluwatu. They're the most popular areas. So to get from one place to another, even though the actual distance is not that much, but the traffic is insane, you need villa managers for those specific areas. So you really need to hone in, similar to what you do here in Dubai, where you want to try to focus in an area so you don't cause logistic nightmares with check-in, check-outs, and cleanings and maintenance. We do the same thing in Bali, but it's a bit more intense over there because the traffic, you can get stuck in 2-hour traffic easily.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you think it's so bad over there?
The traffic, I think, is just infrastructure hasn't kept up with the volume of visitors, because the roads are still made for like scooters, let's say, the gas scooters or motorcycles, if you want to call it that. You have a bunch of cars there that kind of just make it difficult for you to get from point A to point B. But yeah, it's just really busy. People are always happy to go to Bali. It's a great destination. Yeah.
Yeah, so you really need to have a scooter to get between places.
Yeah, if you're a local, like if you're like a foreigner that is a wannabe local, you definitely need a scooter. You need to go from one point to another.
And you can drive past the traffic.
Yeah.
You don't get stuck.
No. So there's I'll send you a couple of videos after it. It's all over social media. There's a place called Canggu. Canggu is like really popping now. It used to be Seminyak, that's where all the tourists used to go to. But Canggu's coming in as like the hipster cool spot that has really cool restaurants and really cool concepts that people really enjoy. So you have people that stay there for a while actually. Like the digital nomad lifestyle in Bali is huge. So a lot of times you see people leasing properties for 2 weeks till 2 months, you know? So Canggu's really busy. I'll send you a couple of videos on just how busy the streets can get with just motorcycles. It's insane. It's crazy. Yeah.
But you need some skills to drive around in that.
Yeah.
Really?
So there's something called Bali tattoo in Bali. So if you have a motorcycle, you're most likely gonna get skid by another motorcycle or drop. So that's what they call the Bali tattoo in Bali. So you get some on your calves or your feet or your thighs. It's so normal. It's funny seeing some foreigners in the streets because you know that this guy's a foreigner, because the Indonesians will just drive in circles around you. And a foreigner is just going to wait and put his indicator, wait to go for the right. You just need to take your lane.
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's cool.
Yeah, I bet. So what's the plans with Dubai? Why are you opening up in Dubai and not just focusing on Bali?
We've been planning on opening up in Dubai for a while. Let's say probably from early 2023. I'm based here. You know, I work here. My entire life is in Dubai. And we have a good network in Dubai. A lot of the people.
The way you say Dubai is a little different. You
so
say Dubai.
the way you say it is like the English way of saying it, Dubai, right? But it's, if you speak to an Emirati, he won't tell you Dubai. He'll say Dubai. Dubai.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's I say Dubai. Okay. I'm kind of a hybrid in the middle.
Because you were born and raised here?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I'm originally Palestinian, but born and raised here, school and nursery from my entire life here. Yeah. And went off to uni in the UK. That's where I met David. Yeah.
Very nice.
But the plan in Dubai is looking at continuing the operations that we, copying the blueprint that we've picked up in Bali, applying it in Dubai, leveraging our network and making sure that we can start signing on owners at an early stage. We just started in August, like literally 1st of August. We got one employee on that came in with holiday home experience from another operator in Dubai. And we're just planning on seeing how it goes here and giving ourselves a year to 2 years to just really start picking up in this region. Yeah.
So that's going to be management deals.
Definitely management deals. Yeah.
And you don't like subleasing at all.
Look, I think because we have a philosophy. We've been in the game. We've been we went through COVID, and you have to keep in mind, COVID in Bali was no joke. A full lockdown for almost 2 years, which is ridiculous, right? We have a philosophy: grow steadily, don't grow too aggressively, because I'm looking at. I've been following you for a while, right? I've seen your story. And it's very commendable. I respect you for that. You're doing a great job.
Thanks.
But you're when you reach that 100 apartments, you're gonna be a full-on operation.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to front a lot of rent payments, and you're gonna have to really make sure that your cash management and cash flow management is on point.
Sure.
You have to do the same thing with operating, managing, but it's just. Our philosophy is we want to stay in the game for a long time.
Yeah.
Our expertise is not subleasing. Some people are great at subleasing, like you and many other people in the country that do this. But we're in it in the long game, and we kind of like that middleman approach where we're the operator, and you're aligned with the interests of the owner, because you obviously want to maximize the income, so you can get your 20% and the owner can get his income, cover at least over a long-term lease.
Yeah.
And then you're also very close to the guests, because you're an intermediary trying to make the best for both sides.
Yeah, honestly, like co-hosting it's honestly a better business model. It honestly is.
I think so too.
It's just because when I came from Iceland, I only did subleasing. So that's all I knew when I came here. So I was just like, let's just do what I know.
Yeah.
And I just started doing it. But now I'm also doing co-hosting.
Yeah.
But obviously I got a lot going on. So I got 2 partners that I do co-hosting with. And we have 17 apartments now.
Okay.
It's going so good.
Okay.
So I'm actually focusing a lot on that right now as well. Just growing that. We're going to grow that like crazy for sure.
Yeah. So if you don't mind me asking about your operation here with your 2 partners, how did you get into it? Like, how did you get convinced and start that venture?
Yeah, it was a hard decision because a lot of people asked me always if I could manage their apartments, but I was just doing so many things, the podcast, making all these videos, subleasing. I have operations in Iceland. So I was kind of scared of starting that, because I was afraid these owners would be, because, when you're managing an apartment for somebody else, they want to make sure, everything is proper. So they're a lot more likely to be, and I had big visions, to get to 100 apartments. And I was scared that if I had too many owners, asking me questions, and it would just be too much. I couldn't make consistent content. I couldn't be doing the podcast. I would just have to focus on that. And it's hard to hire somebody to to communicate with the owners.
Yeah.
So I thought the only way to do this is if I partner with guys that have the same skills as me, and they can handle most of the communication with the owners. And it was super hard to find guys that I could trust for that. But I made so many stories. I'll just continue looking for like guys like you. Maybe we would have been good partners if we would.
I think we would have been great partners.
If you're just starting in Dubai, like we would have been great partners too. But these guys, they worked for 10 years for like a PMS, like Hostaway and stuff like that. But it was like a smaller one that most people don't know. So for 10 years, they were advising owners on how to set up their apartments and connect with all these softwares. So they're so good. And now we work together, and it's great. But it took me a while to actually, first I was like, yeah, let's go, let's get started. But then I backed out. I was like, no, I changed my mind. I just wanted to do subleasing. But then a couple of months later, I was like, okay, let's do it. And it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, because I think a lot of the times you get so focused on your initial goal, which was to reach 100 apartments, right?
Yeah.
And then you see an amazing opportunity like the management company that you've set up with your 2 partners, and you disregard it because this is what you want to do, right? Sometimes it's good to pivot. Sometimes it's good to expand in a way where you can kind of manage or calculate your risk. Because keep in mind, your management company can keep funding your subleasing company. It's not like one or the other works in silo,
Exactly.
You leverage your suppliers and your contacts from your subleasing business that you've been working on, and you can kind of leverage that with your management company here. I think it's a great idea. Like when I saw that you started that, I was like, I think that's a great push. And I knew you're going to find that as a better business model, because you can sleep well at night.
Yeah.
Yes, the owners are going to be on your back, which is a good thing. You want to keep that connection with the owners, because you're not gonna So unless you're investing a lot of money in marketing, the owners are the best free marketing you will ever get in your entire life.
Exactly. Word of mouth is everything, especially in Dubai, because it's so hard to do marketing in Dubai.
And all the owners know each other. Like, it's a circle here. You know, people that have money that are investing in investment properties know where to look, and they trust each other. You know, they don't need a sponsored ad on LinkedIn or Instagram. They just need a coffee where they sit down and chat with each other, and one reference can lead into a broadcast of messages on WhatsApp. And that's literally what happened to us in Bali with Villa Kirana. That owner spoke to his friends and his friends, and then at some point we stopped taking on villas. We're like, guys, we took a decision as 4 partners. We're like, we need to take a pause here, kind of refine our operations
before you take on more. That's the big thing with scaling. Like, it's just making sure that you have the systems in place to be able to handle more load.
Like, you don't. I've always been against scaling for the sake of scaling. You want to scale when you're actually ready to scale, because the most important thing in our business, and I don't think it's the real estate. We're not in the real estate business. I think we're in the hospitality business, right? This is the industry. This is genuinely the industry we're in. You're taking care of owners. You're taking care of guests. Word of mouth and reputation is the most important asset, the untangible asset that you have. Like, nothing else can beat it. Because once one person has a bad experience with you, you're done. Yeah, absolutely.
That's true. All right. So what do you see are the big differences between starting an Airbnb business in Dubai versus Bali?
So, you know, I think it's very similar to the actual lifestyles. Dubai is busy, you know, a bit more formal. And then Bali's a bit more laid back. You know, everyone walks around in Havianas all day, right? Like in shorts and Havianas and at the beach. So things moved a bit slower in Bali in the beginning, because it's a established kind of business model. Like, tourism is most of its Bali's GDP, right? And then Dubai, things moved quickly. And you kind of have a bunch of suppliers and a bunch of service providers, because we outsource everything here, right? Like, we have an operations manager, and I work on business development and some marketing aspects and just refining our SOPs. But we outsource our cleaning, we outsource our amenities, let's say, our maintenance. So we're trying to keep it as lean as possible for now, till we reach an X amount of properties, and then we can start looking at continuing to expand the personnel on.
Are you talking about Dubai now?
Dubai, yeah. In Bali, we have 120 employees for 55
You have
properties.
120 employees?
Yeah.
That's including the cleaners?
That's including cleaners. Out of the 120, we have around like 30 white collar, like people that sit on desks and on computers.
That's more than 2 employees per apartment.
Yeah. So
per villa.
Yeah.
I guess it's because it's villas.
Exactly.
The big freaking villas. You need employees to manage these.
So you have, I'm telling you, some of the villas are huge.
Yeah, I saw them. They're huge.
Yeah, they're big. And that's what people want. That's what people want to stay in. And then that's what actually gets you a good amount of revenue.
These villas, I saw you're charging like $500 a night sometimes?
Yeah. Something along that line.
So $500 a night, you rent them out like 25 days a month, something like that?
Let's say our occupancy rate is around 82% last I checked.
Okay. So 23 nights a month or
something like that. Yeah.
So 24 nights a month, you're making like $12,000 a villa. Yeah, and you take 20% of that, $2,000 a month, and there's some operation costs and stuff like that.
Operation costs and stuff like that. And keep in mind, there's other revenues that we generate from almost every single villa. Everyone wants cleaning almost every single day.
So that's an add-on, you charge extra
upsell. That's an upsell. Because keep in mind, you're swimming in the villa, sitting on your couch. The patio's wet. Everything's all over the place. A lot of the times people throw parties. We don't allow it, but like, you're in Bali, it's a huge villa.
Yeah.
Even if just the people staying in the apartment, in the villa alone, just have a few, enjoy themselves, that's already a party. Like, you have 6, 7, 8 people in one place.
Do you get longer stays or mostly shorter stays?
Depends. Our bigger villas, we get longer stays. Yeah. Our smaller villas, we get a bit shorter stays. Longer stays, I'd probably say, is around like 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
Which is good.
That's like a normal booking, 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I feel like, if you go to Bali, you're staying for a while.
Yeah. Like, I've never been to Bali for a week. It takes me 9 hours to get there, and there's a time difference as well.
Exactly.
And there's just so much to see in Bali. There's just so much to see in Bali. You can go there. So the first time I went there was in 2019, and then I went for a bit right after COVID, and I went again like in June, this June. I went in June for 3 weeks, and it's so different. So different. Restaurants that I went to in 2019 no longer exist, and there's bigger, better, nicer restaurants, nicer beach clubs. There's nicer stores. Just so much is changing very quickly.
So when you go to Bali, because is it good surfing? I love surfing. Is it good to surf in Bali?
Yeah, man, absolutely. Like you have a bunch of. So there's a place called Jimbaran.
Okay.
Jimbaran's like the surfing hotspot there. People go there to surf. There's Uluwatu too, Canggu. Dude, anywhere you go in Bali, you're
but
going to
you want to stay close to the beach then?
Yeah, you absolutely want to stay close.
You got villas close to the beach?
Most of our villas are close to the beach.
So this one right here is not so close to the beach.
Yeah.
Let's see.
You're going to find some that are, let's say, a bit of a walk from the beach, or you're going to need a scooter. So this is super close to the beach.
This one's close to the beach.
Yeah,
so you can just walk to the beach and surf?
Exactly. So this is walk to the beach, you can surf, and...
So this is the whole city, right?
This is the whole island, yeah.
Oh, this is the city right here?
Yeah.
How big is this?
I'm not going to be able to tell you exactly how big it is.
But it takes 2 hours to drive from one end to the other?
Almost, yeah. So if you're looking at this strip right here, this strip all the way here, that's where most of the tourists go.
Okay.
And then you have the hotspot Ubud. A lot of people go there for spiritual retreats, yoga retreats.
I saw this one thing. There's this thing trending on Instagram where like men go, there are no women allowed, and it's like only eat meat and work.
I saw that.
Work out.
Yeah.
So that's somewhere there, right?
Yeah, that's somewhere in Bali, because Bali also has a Bali MMA. Bali MMA is huge there. People travel there and do camps there for like 3-4 weeks or a couple of months at a time. You know what I mean? So you do find that. It's pretty busy. Like I'm telling you, like I've never been there in a specific time where it wasn't busy, where stores are empty, where beaches are empty. Like it's always busy.
Exactly.
Yeah, just because of the overall seasonality.
It's crazy that even people from Iceland go there all the time.
Yeah.
It's so far away.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I can imagine. And Iceland's so different to Dubai and Bali, I'd say, because you do find some similarities in Dubai and Bali. Some, not too many, but you definitely do find some like that.
So what about like the operations? Do you have virtual assistants in the Philippines?
No, so we have assistants, we have people in Bali that do it, right?
Okay.
Like
everything is just in Bali.
Yeah,
your employees in Bali.
Almost everything is in Bali.
What about the pricing? Do you do your pricing yourself?
Yeah, we do it. So David, so we have a general manager called Taran as well. He's the one that kind of deals with all the specific ops, the detailed ops. We do our own pricing as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in charge. So the general manager in Bali is the one that looks after the pricing. David looks over the general overall operation of the company. Try to do a lot of BD, business development. Try to get new owners to sign on with us. Now we're opening up again. People are coming in.
So you're 3 guys that own the company?
4.
So
so me,
guys.
David, Odon, and Benz. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. So the good thing about having 4 people is you have a more global reach. Like for example, Odon is someone that lives in Budapest. He has great connections in Budapest, and he understands the market there.
And you're happy splitting everything 4 ways.
Yeah.
Even though things in Budapest. He lives in Budapest. He probably runs most of the things in Budapest. Yeah, it feels like a difficult dynamic to get right, but
it took us time to get it right. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Because I told you there was a big transitional period when we merged. But then it's just going to be, look, all of us are friends now. You know what I mean? We all understand each other. Everyone gives each other their space. But obviously in business, there's no friends. But what a lot of people say, you have to keep things commercial and, let's say, official.
I bet it's a lot more fun to be in like a 4-person group.
Yeah, because we get on calls, like a lot of the times, just us brainstorming things like, what are we going to do? Because the reason why we decided to expand, we were supposed to expand in 2023. Bali was just generating so much cash. And we didn't want to reinvest because we could have obviously went the subleasing way, right? We could have taken on more properties to increase our portfolio, but we didn't want to take on too much risk. We'd rather try our luck in different jurisdictions and increase our risk from that perspective. At least it's a calculated risk that you have control over, and there's a higher reward coming after it. So at that point, that's when we looked at, okay, there's this operation company in Bali, in Budapest. We acquired that, and with the rest of the cash, we're going to set up in Dubai and give ourselves like some burn rate to go through to try to actually get the properties that we want to get on, so we can start breaking even. Yeah.
So you already have an apartment in Dubai?
Yeah, so we have 2 apartments. We're listing them this week. One in IMPZ in Dubai Studio City, and the other one JVC. So right now,
so these are like not the high-end tourist areas.
No.
These are
yeah. Because look, I think looking at, like, for example, Marina, right? Some people have like 4, 5, 6 properties in one building. You know, this is their building, this is what they like, and that's what they're gonna go for. It's super saturated in Marina. Like if you go on Airbnb and you just type Marina 2-bedroom or 1-bedroom or studio, there's gonna be tons of apartments. You look at downtown. I like downtown. I really like downtown because downtown's right next to Business Bay too, and Marina's right next to JBR as well. So you have those, you know, neighboring areas. So you can kind of leverage those 2 areas at the same time for a logistic perspective. I'm eyeing downtown, and I'm eyeing this entire new strip where you get a lot of younger generation people coming and staying in. So you have the Jumeirah Village Circle, so JVC, JLT. You have the Jumeirah Village Triangle. You have Al Farjan. You have Al Arjan. You have that entire strip, which is pretty busy. A lot of people want to stay there, and I feel like there and rather than getting 2, 3, 4 nights stay or a 1 week stay, you can also get a bit of a longer stay as well, making sure your property is occupied.
Yeah, I bet you get longer stays there because people, it's not necessarily tourists, it's often just people that are moving here and want to stay in an Airbnb a little bit to begin with. And
exactly.
So, okay, here's a question. Tell me the biggest difficulty having an Airbnb business in Dubai, in Bali, and in Budapest.
Okay. I'd probably say in Bali, the biggest difficulty is the turnaround time from signing your property management contract with the owner to actually listing. Because we're very, very, very particular about the properties we list. We're very, very... We could have easily been at 85 properties in Bali alone or 100 properties in Bali alone, but we've rejected a lot of owners, obviously respectfully, but we wanted to make sure that the properties that we list there are to a certain standard. And when we take on properties, we really take our time. Our operations managers go through every single aspect of a huge villa. So you need to make sure everything's working perfectly. And we usually refurbish a lot of the villas. So we work on a lot of the, you know, the pool tiles. We work on the boards right next to the pool. Before you go in, you look at the outdoor sitting area. You want to change the furniture.
You renovate the pool?
Yeah, so we subcontract. So we work with someone, not the pool, the let's say the layering in the pool. So for example, if there's a tile off, we're going to change that.
Yeah.
And that's obviously a huge, and it
How
takes...
often does the pool break?
Not that often. Not that often. Because we maintain... So owners love us in Bali because if you long-term lease something to someone, the pool's going to come back green, murky, you know, full of moss, and your property is just not going to be maintained the way we maintain it.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
That's a huge thing about short-term.
That's a misunderstanding that I think a lot of owners have.
Absolutely.
They think if your apartment's going to be run on Airbnb, you're going to get parties and you're going to get it back a mess.
Which is so wrong.
Which is so wrong. I check the damage after every single tenant, and we fix every single thing every single week, multiple times a week. Yeah. Like if there's a scratch on the wall, we paint it right away.
Exactly.
So we maintain it in perfect shape the whole period. But if you have a long-term tenant, you have no idea what he's going to do. Maybe he's a smoker, and he's just going to smoke in your apartment the whole stay, and he's never going to clean. He's never going to... You don't know. But with us, you know we're going to clean.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Like, owners need to start understanding that, obviously, depending on the rent market in Dubai, right? Like, if you're getting a long-term lease for... as the markets are going now, it's a bit lower now, let's say in comparison to how it was going last year and the projection it was going on. Owners get to actually have much more control over their property. He can call you anytime and tell you, Faisal, I want to come in for a viewing and check out the property. I might have a buyer, let's say, right? If you have a long-term tenant, the house is going to be upside down and he has his family's pictures everywhere. Whereas for us, we have nice paintings, nice decorations. Like, we're upselling your property on a constant basis. You're getting the most marketing you can get on your property when you have a short-term operator dealing with your property.
For me, it's a no-brainer. So many owners are just... I think it's not that bad in Dubai, though.
Yeah.
Most people are okay with Airbnb. but there's always these few that are scared of it. But
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the difficulty in Bali.
Yeah.
The turnaround time. What
Yeah.
about Dubai and Budapest?
So I'll go with Budapest. I'm not that experienced in the Budapest market because we've literally just acquired that company, let's say, a bit over a month ago. So we're still kind of learning all the operations because obviously the partner that lives there and that's overlooking the Budapest company has all the expertise. So we're also trying to share the knowledge because there's a lot of things you can learn from different jurisdictions. Budapest is regulation heavy. That's what I understand of it right now. Like the permits that you need to get, you know how here you have the DTCM portal where you can get a permit within 24 hours for that unit, maximum. There it can take a couple of weeks. It takes some time. And there's a lot of employee regulations as well. If you want to get an employee, the amount of salary that you have to pay, or let's say the government permits you need to get so you can increase your quota for visas, those things can be hurdles if you're scaling and you're growing faster than you expected. And I'd probably say about Dubai, it's a double-edged sword, the saturated market here.
Yeah.
Everyone's an operator.
Crazy.
Everyone's an operator. Like in comparison to 2023 from now, I think, I don't know how many operators we have now. And I'm coming into the market now, you know what I mean? So I'm not helping the market.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm looking at it like if there was no competition in the market, there's no reason to be in it. People are seeing that it is profitable. People are seeing that short-term rentals make sense. Owners want short-term rentals because now they're starting to get informed about the business. People are genuinely understanding what's going on. So when you start looking at it from that aspect, there's more than enough owners. And another good thing about Dubai, there's such difficult things to say about bad things that go on in Dubai because everything's online. The government's willing to help. There's clear regulations. You're not working in the gray. Another good thing about Dubai is that there's a lot of financial services companies here. So there's a lot of crowdfunding companies. I have a legal background. I'm a lawyer by practice, right? My professional career has been in law. Like I've worked in law firms. I've worked in-house legal counsel roles, legal consulting.
Wow.
And
How old are you?
I'm 28.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 28 years old. Turning 29 in March. But I specialize in financial services regulation, right? We help companies get their licenses to conduct financial services operations here. So like brokers, let's say, or trading platforms or crowdfunding platforms or whatever it is. And in Dubai, you have a good amount of, I'm not gatekeeping this, but there's a good amount of crowdfunding companies in Dubai that set up, let's say, investment vehicles that buy a bunch of properties, okay? Those properties are literally a pure investment play, right? And when you have those investment plays, you need to operate those properties, right? You're not going to put them on long-term most of the time. 90%, I'm pretty sure that they don't long-term rent because then you're getting stuck because you want to buy and sell those properties a bit more fluidly. You have a bunch of investment properties going back to it. You're going to need people to operate it. I think a lot of these crowdfunding platforms have great connections with some operators. And then I feel like that's a market you can tap. And I feel like that's very rewarding because these guys own like hundreds of properties, hundreds of apartments and top-notch apartments, right? Because you're having 1,000 people pay 500 dirhams or 10,000 people paying 500 dirhams to buy like an amazing penthouse. You know what I mean? And you have one operator that you're dealing with, one crowdfunding platform that you're dealing with. So I think that's another huge thing about Dubai, which we don't have in Bali and we don't have as much in Budapest.
But what was the bad thing about Dubai?
Dubai, I think saturated. I think that's the only thing you can say.
Yeah, really.
But it's a double-edged sword, like I said. There's two aspects,
So you think Dubai is definitely more saturated than Bali?
I think they compete head-to-head now.
Yeah, Bali is maybe the other market that's super saturated. Do you
Bali
think?
is super saturated, but I feel like Dubai is more scattered. It's not as consolidated. Like I don't think the big players, like we all know some of the huge operators in Dubai, they've been in the game for a while, but I don't think they have a good chunk of the market share. I think it's consolidated. It's scattered across all the different operators.
So it's more scattered in Dubai versus Bali.
Yeah.
Are there operators in Bali that have like hundreds of villas?
Yeah. There's one that comes to mind that's pretty good. That has that amount of villas, but their ratings aren't as good.
Really?
Because your quality drops. And another difficult thing about Bali is finding good talent. Because a lot of the times you need to hire two people to do a job of one person. Hiring good talent and retaining that good talent.
What's the salary like there?
Not the salaries that you're paying in Dubai.
It's lower.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
no,
sure,
so,
for sure.
yeah.
Because you're probably thinking about cleaning, right?
I'm more like if you would want to hire somebody to check for damages and make sure
Like an operations manager,
the internet's
yeah.
working and stuff like that.
So that's what we call a villa manager. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you exactly how much we pay each villa manager because so we have 123 personnel that we deal with on our payroll, right? But not 123 that we issue visas for to stay in because a lot of them are locals and don't necessarily need visas,
But
right?
how much, if I would start, how much would I expect to have to pay a villa manager?
A villa manager, let's say around like under $500 a month.
Under $500 a month.
I think so, yeah. Because keep in mind, the Bali...
Oh, it's so cheap. Where's this guy from? What nationality is usually?
They can be Indonesian. They
Okay.
can be from Bali. People that live there. If you're hiring a bula, which is a foreigner in Bali, you're gonna have to pay them a bit more for
Yeah.
sure. We don't have that many foreigners in our company. We have the general manager is a foreigner who lives in Bali for a while and was in the hospitality industry. So he's doing well with us.
Okay.
He's been with us for ages. He started as a villa manager, now he's a general manager. Most of the people that we have been with us since day one and grew with us as we grew.
Yeah,
And they've
it's
also went up the ranks.
Super cool.
Yeah, yeah,
One thing that's kind of interesting is you bought the company in Budapest, you said.
yeah.
So when you buy, it was just a management company?
It was just a management company.
So a couple of things when I think when you buy a management company. So what do the owners of the apartments think when there's new owners? Did some of those owners drop out, take their apartments out, or did all of them stay?
All of them stayed.
Yeah.
No one dropped out at all, actually. Because so the way the Budapest company was going is that we have a CEO or general manager that deals with the Budapest company. She's still there. She's, her face is still in front of the owners. That relationship is still ongoing. But then the two owners, so there were three owners, right? The director, the lady that works there, and then the two owners that are also shareholders in the Bali company or the group of company, Bali and Dubai. They're still there. So there's technically no change, right? So that was the big difference that we had.
Oh yeah, so there's managers still there.
The manager's still there and then the owners are still there as well.
But so when you're buying a company like that, do you have to buy it at like 3 times the profit they make per year, or what is that like?
So you look at there's different ways you can value a company. The way we looked at it was keep in mind as well that we're partners, right? So we obviously got better terms. A lot of the times you have to buy a company outright or you have an installment period or pay in installments. We took it on let's say a 2.5 EBITDA multiplier, and we paid upfront 30%, and we're going to be paying on quarterly basis, which is great
like
for us.
seller financing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Budapest company should be paying for itself.
Yeah, exactly. Because you pay down 30%, and then you use the profits to pay down the installments.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah. I love these kind of things. I actually buy apartments in Iceland on these kind of plans. So I get a 70%. I buy the apartment, I get a 70% mortgage from the bank, and then the remaining 30% I pay in installments.
That's
and I
great,
use the cash flow to, and that way I can buy apartments in Iceland for very little money down.
So in Iceland, you're actually buying the apartments. You're not leasing.
So it used to be leasing, but now I'm just focusing on Dubai.
Okay.
But I take one-on-one apartments or cabins that I buy in Iceland like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's I think if anyone has the capital to be buying the properties, that's a different game, obviously.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't need much capital if I do it that way. I just have to make sure.
How much is a cabin? Like one bedroom, 2 bedroom cabin?
Yeah, so there's one cabin I got now that was 3-bedroom cabin with a hot tub, super nice, and it is about in dollars $600,000.
Okay.
And then I get a 7% mortgage, and the remaining 30% I get to pay down in 60 months.
Okay.
So, but they do this all the time in America, and that's why I'm super annoyed that I'm in a country where I can't do this. You can't really do this in Dubai.
Why?
I've tried a lot.
What do you mean you can't do this in
So
Dubai?
the thing is, nobody does this. The first thing.
Okay.
So I've been like, okay, maybe if I just force this and I get this done. So I've tried to make this offer to owners a lot, but I just can't get it done. I can't get anyone to agree to these terms, and I'm not 100% sure if it's legal to do it. Anyway.
Because the title deed is going to get transferred to your name, and then you're going to have. But
technically, you can just do it. Nobody has to know about it. It's just
I think you can do it.
It's just between you and the owner. So it's definitely possible. It's just super hard to get done here. for some reason.
Another problem about what happens in Dubai, there's that a lot of the, let's say, foreigners are considered as a flight risk for people that have been born and raised here or have their entire life in here. Because you've heard of the scams and the frauds that happen in Dubai, just like any other country, right? People come, break a few deals, go back to their home country or go somewhere where no one's going to touch you.
Absolutely.
And then that happens. So there's that risk. But look, you can enter SPAs, like sales purchase agreements, where you can kind of break down your installments. You can break down, I'm pretty sure you can find buyers. You just have to find a buyer, a seller that's interested. You have to find a seller that's interested, but I don't see why not.
Yeah. If you're interested, let me know and you'll help me set it up.
Absolutely, man. That sounds like a good plan.
And you know what's in it for the owners is usually I pay a little bit above market value, and so if it's somebody that's struggling to sell their apartment, they can get the sell right away, but they just don't get all the money right away. So and if they don't need all the money right away, it can be a great deal for the owner.
Yeah, thing is, it's a seller's market now. A lot of the people that I know are selling. A lot of the people that I know are selling. Like I've had a couple of conversations this week. Someone had around 6 properties, owned them, just in investment properties, sold them. You're starting to see a lot of people sell. That's an indicator in the market, basically, that the prices are pretty high right now. Sellers are enjoying this market, and at some point it's going to be a buyer's market. It's just like any other up and down, like any other charts.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what's going to happen to the market. Also, just the rents. I feel like the rents can't keep rising much more.
I don't think so.
But who knows?
But I think so. It was, I might be mistaken about the numbers here. I think last year the rent increase was around like 23%, a bit over 20%. This year was around 19%. So you're seeing a slowdown in growth. That means, I can't predict the future, but a lot of people are saying that rent prices might be coming down.
At least holiday home companies, they can't afford to keep paying more.
So people that are subleasing like you, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Because even for owners, they'd rather do a long-term lease, just get a tenant that pays them for an entire year, and then they sit down. They don't have to worry about the down seasons, and that's the best thing for them.
Would you ever consider selling your company? The one that the 4 of you own together?
No, not at this point, man. We're enjoying it. Look, it's fun. A lot of people hear about short-term rentals. It's a difficult business model because in a day and age where everything's tech-enabled or tech-heavy, we're platforms that are tech-enabled, right? We use technology platforms to optimize our business, but we're not a technology company. Anyone that wants to look at investment, acquisition, sale of a company are looking at tech companies. That's the kind of the theme right now. Fintechs and agri-tech, insurtech. That's what people are focusing on. But sometimes it's fun to get your hands dirty. Like you actually have an apartment, you have cleaners, and you have the personnel in and out. It's a very difficult market to get into. But once you go into it slowly, and again, I mean it, if you are planning on getting into subleasing or managing properties, be slow, be careful, go into it because you're playing with other people's properties. If you're co-hosting, if you're subleasing, you're putting up capital up front, and you don't want to be that person.
I heard a story of some woman that got 10 apartments subleasing. She just saw my videos. This is a story. I don't know if it's 100% true, but
it's all your fault.
She saw it's all my fault. She saw my videos and she was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this," and she got 10 apartments right away subleasing. Right before the summer, and apparently she did not get a single booking for months. I mean, I can understand that if you don't present it in the right way and you don't have a low enough price, then you don't get booked. So she just went bankrupt right away. And
oh my God,
I heard this from a management company that was taking over all of these apartments, and that management company told me about that. So it's crazy. So my number one advice right now is, if you're going to go into this, just start with one. Make sure you're profitable before you go on the second one.
Don't get too greedy.
Exactly.
This is not a market to be greedy in. This is not an industry to get greedy in. Like, make sure that you're calculated with your approach. Make sure you understand. Try it out with one property. Like what we're doing in B&B Mates now, in Dubai at least. We're getting those 2 properties. We're listing them. We're going to manage them. And we're going to really refine our SOPs. By the time this video probably comes out, I'd hope that we'd have more properties on. And our SOPs are just rock solid. It doesn't take that much time. You get a few bookings. You make sure that your cleaning partners, your maintenance guys, everyone's aligned. You know, your operations manager is on it, and that's when you start looking at scaling. Scaling is not always a good thing.
Yeah, for me, that's why I never want to take on like partners, like investors.
Yeah, don't
that
do that.
own shares of my profits, because I don't really. I'm happy with scaling slower, because my biggest bottleneck is just improving the systems as I grow. Yeah. Because now I'm at so many apartments. Now I feel like I'm slacking on the pricing a little bit. I see that I'm making a couple of mistakes just because there's so many apartments that I have to manage. So right now I'm like figuring out. I got this one guy, put him in my story the other day. He's like a pricing manager at like a public company, like not a holiday home company, like just a
publicly listed company.
Yeah, like a huge company. And he's like the pricing expert for that company. And he's got 2 Airbnb apartments as well. And he was like showing me how he does the pricing. And I'm like, dude, this is probably better than what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So now I gave him 2 apartments to manage, and I'm going to see how well he does.
And you're probably paying him like a...
Yeah, I pay him like a percentage, tiny percentage.
Okay.
But if he does as good as me, it's going to be worth it. And I'm going to give him all the apartments.
Absolutely. You take off as much as you can from your plate.
Yeah.
Worry about the bigger picture.
Exactly.
Right?
You have to do it. If you want to keep growing, you have to try to outsource everything and just make sure everything is running properly.
Yeah.
My job right now is just make sure everybody's doing a good job, you know?
Yeah. You're just managing people at this point.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But I remember there was a time where you started posting about finding people that would finance your leases.
Yeah.
So you were leveraging.
Yeah.
Are you still doing that?
So there was one guy that...
Because that's technically taking debt and you're paying interest over time, right?
Yeah, so there was one guy that borrowed me money, and so he gave me 500,000 dirhams.
Okay.
And I paid him back over 12 months.
Okay.
So he just did that for me like twice. Now he doesn't do that for me anymore. Yeah, so I did that.
Okay. And you're not following through. You're not going to continue doing that.
I probably would do it if he would give me more, but he had some other things he wanted to put his money in, so he said no more for now. But that's not to scale faster. That's just going to give me more money to,
You're managing your cash flow, right?
Yeah. But that's just going to give me more money to buy apartments in Iceland or buy Bitcoin or whatever,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But anyway, we are pretty much done with our time. Any last topics you want to talk about?
Not that I can think of right now, but I think this conversation was good.
Very good.
And hopefully we'll see how B&B Mates does in Dubai.
Exactly.
We're going to push through with it, and maybe one day we can catch up again. It'll be a great time.
For sure.
But just before we go I told you this earlier.
Yeah.
You're like the Joe Rogan of subleasing in Dubai. You came in, no one was on socials at the time. It was such a well-kept secret. When you came in, you're doing it right. Keep doing it, man. You're killing it.
Thank you so much, man.
It's a pleasure.
So if people want you to manage their apartments in Dubai, where do they reach out to you?
They can reach me on, you can put this in your description, but our Instagram handle is B&B Mates DXB. Send us a DM and we're more than happy to get in a initial discussion, see your property, and we can walk you through everything.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming.
Man. Thank you very much.
All right, man.